Australian Rotary Health started here in Victoria through the Rotary Club of Mornington 3.5 decades ago. While the Rotary Foundation is our wonderful international humanitarian arm, Australian Rotary Health is one of the greatest Rotary programs in this country, and it's something in which we should feel incredibly proud. The research outcomes since the earliest days tackling sudden infant death syndrome have literally saved thousands of lives. The most debilitating and pervasive illness in our society today, particularly for the younger people, is mental illness. The figures in terms of personal and economic cost are staggering. Chances are you know someone who has a mental illness and you can appreciate the anguish and the suffering that they and others around them experience. Well, we want to help. At our most recent Australian Rotary Health Board meeting, we determined that for at least the next 3 years, our main focus will be mental illness prevention research. We have brilliant world-class researchers whom we currently support, but if we're really to help the next generations of young Australians, we need to significantly increase the number of research grants we can allocate. The first major step to enable us to fund greater research will happen throughout Victoria this year in our Lift the Lid on Mental Illness campaign on Friday, the 7th of October. On that day, every Rotary Club in the 5 Victorian districts is invited to participate. Rotary will be hitting the streets, the stations, approaching the general public and local businesses in a concerted effort to immediately double our research capacity. Every dollar donated will go straight into prevention research, and tax-deductible donations will easily be made online through the Lift the Lid link at Australian Rotary Health or at any branch of the National Australia Bank. Now, here is a professor, a Rotarian, and a world leader in prevention research, all rolled into one.
Hello, I'm Tony Jorm from the University of Melbourne. I'm also a member of the Research Committee of Australian Rotary Health. One of the reasons that mental illness had such a large impact on the Australian community is that mental illnesses often start when people are young, during childhood, adolescence, or early adulthood. This means that they can have a large impact throughout a person's life, on their education, on their employment, on key relationships, and on health habits like smoking, drinking, and exercise. Now, you might think that because mental illnesses often start when people are young, prevention should be at the forefront, the way it is for physical diseases like cancer and heart disease. However, the area of prevention of mental illness is very much neglected. Australians know very little about what they can do to prevent mental illness in themselves and in their children. That is why the Lift the Lid campaign is raising funds for research into prevention of mental illness.
My name's Ashley Argoon and I'm a journalist at the Herald Sun, and I believe that mental illness is one of the biggest issues that we face. Right now, 1 in 5 people are experiencing a mental illness, and 1 in 2 people will experience mental illness in their lifetime. Suicide claims more people than the road toll. In 2014, 2,864 Australians lost their lives to suicide. In our newsroom, every single day, there's stories about mental illness, whether it's the people who experience it, their families, or the strain that it puts on our services, including our police, our ambulances, our hospitals, and our courtrooms. Then there are the more horrific stories, and they're the ones about people who have drug addiction, alcohol addiction, are homeless, there's self-harm, there's suicide, and there's even murder. And the thing is, all of these are preventable. And that's why we at the Herald Sun support Rotary's Lift a Lid on Friday the 7th of October.
Hi, I'm Jeff Kennett, Chairman of Beyond Blue, the National Depression Initiative. And I just wanted to add my personal support, and that of Beyond Blue, to the campaign that has been launched on October the 7th by Australian Rotary Health, Lifting the Lid on Mental Health. And that's been done by all clubs in Victoria. We thank you at Beyond Blue. We recognise this is a major issue in our society. If you haven't experienced a mental health disorder, you probably know someone who has. And if you haven't, you could be next. So therefore, this campaign is not only important for the work that we're doing at Beyond Blue, it's important for you, the person sitting next to you, the person you work with. Thank you to all the Victorian clubs taking part.
Hi, I'm Katie Kirk and a very proud Rotarian. I'm also a woman who has experienced mental illness. Unfortunately, the mental illness that I suffered from started at a very young age, and it consumed my teens, my 20s, my 30s, and it even still exists in my life today. As a child, I experienced abuse and a broken home. And to cope with that, I started controlling my external world with and my internal world with eating disorders, both anorexia and bulimia. This mental illness robbed me of years. It robbed my health, my confidence, my potential, and created dysfunctional relationships for myself and so much more. And it's consuming, and it hurts, and it's painful. What I do now is I am so determined to help young women like myself in my teens go into their 20s with health, happiness and confidence, and feeling empowered about who they are, what they look like and their potential. Essentially help them love themselves, their bodies and their lives. We need more programs to help our next generation so that they are mentally strong and emotionally resilient. Mental illness is debilitating for not only our young, but also if it continues without being helped. For the sake of our next generation, for their health, their happiness and their confidence, I encourage you to support the Lift the Lid campaign on Friday the 7th of October.
Special thanks to Tony, Ashley, Jeff and Katie for being part of this preliminary video letting you know about Lift the Lid on Friday the 7th of October. That date is also Australian Rotary Health's annual Hat Day nationally, and we encourage clubs to continue their planned Hat Day activities. For Lift the Lid, we know that each Rotary Club is autonomous and that you'll know the best way of approaching the public for funds in your area. And the most successful clubs in each district on monies raised per capita, per numbers of members, will achieve significant recognition. To assist you in the new Rotary year, certainly we hope by the end of August, every club will receive the information and materials that you will need. The fact is, we need you. We already have great support from the Herald Sun, from Neil Mitchell at 3AW and other media. We have strong endorsements, such as from the Governor, the Honourable Linda Dessau, and we believe that apart from raising funds for mental illness prevention, Lift the Lid will give Rotary a more public face, as well as helping future generations of young Australians. We invite all Rotarians in Victoria to support Australian Rotary Health in its Lift the Lid on Mental Illness campaign on Hat Day, Friday the 7th of October.